channel. Today I want to talk about the interview that everybody's been talking about with Steve Harvey and Mo'Nique. Excuse me if I sound a little stuffy. I am fighting another cold after just getting over the flu a week ago. I am sick again. Let's talk about that interview. Now, if you haven't seen the interview, I will link it down below in the description box. Let's go ahead and get into it. First off, I want to say I think it's great that they had this conversation publicly, because we actually got to see how it is when two big celebrities kind of meet and hash things out. And I think it was done in a very relatable, real way. I appreciated that, and I'm glad Steve Harvey decided to have this conversation with Mo'Nique on camera, because I know Mo'Nique has been saying that people have been privately supporting her, but publicly they haven't been supporting her. I think she needs to get what she needs to say out, and Steve needs to say some stuff to her. So they've known each other for 20 plus years, and you know, Mo'Nique wanted to address the fact that she felt like, again, that Steve was privately supporting her and calling her and saying, I support you, but publicly he wasn't really doing that. And she also wanted to discuss why she did what she did, and you know, how she felt about, you know, Tyler Perry and Oprah, and I forget Lee Daniels, that's the other person. They pretty much have blackballed her, and Steve identified with, you know, her frustration and said, you know, he thinks it's wrong that they blackballed her and that she's immensely talented, and it's a shame that things went this way. First, I want to say my thoughts about what Mo'Nique did last year. I completely agree that Black women are underpaid. I'm a victim of that myself. I myself personally have a master's degree, and I work with people who have less education and not even as much experience as me, but they make more money and they are a different pigmentation than I am. I know what that's like. Let's just put that out there. So I agree with her. And when she said that Netflix had lowballed her, I thought that was messed up. I thought she was worth more money than that. But with all that being said, I do think Mo'Nique went about this the wrong way. He called for a boycott of Netflix, and she didn't really have a plan of action. And that's something Steve Harvey mentioned to her as well. You know, you called for a boycott, but you didn't tell us what did you want us to do to stay in solidarity with you? Did you want us to cancel our subscription? Are you saying don't watch Netflix if you have it? What exactly are you wanting us to do? He made the point that complaining about the $500,000 being her paycheck is rich people problems, because I myself, if I had gotten $500,000, you won't hear me complaining about that. Let me just say that. I understand after 25 years in the business, you think you deserve more. I understand that, and I agree that she did deserve more. Publicly bashing people, releasing tapes of you know, the conversations with Tyler Perry, telling them on stage to suck her dick if she had one. Kind of some of the antics she did carrying on after that, I don't agree with. I don't think that was the best way to handle that. I think you know when you're a Black woman in the industry, we already have enough things to overcome, and I think behaving that way just made it harder for her, and it probably made it harder for other Black female comedians coming up. Could have, you know, had a public discussion and put it out there, but done it in a more professional way. They talked about her being labeled difficult. I don't necessarily think just because a person says no that they're difficult. And as a woman, as a Black woman, you tote the line when you say no about things, or if you try to be assertive or just state your opinion about stuff, you tote that line of being labeled a bitch. And it's that way when you're a female in general, but it's even worse when you're a Black woman, because there's all the stereotypical all the stereotypes that come with being a Black woman, and God forbid you speak your mind or you say anything to go against a male, especially a white male. Lord, with that being said, I'm not saying that Mo'Nique shouldn't have expressed her discontentment with that and not been insulted. I just think there was a better way to go about it. Back to the interview. there were a couple of parts in the interview that obviously stood out to everybody. There was an exchange between MoNique and Steve Harvey about, you know, why he didn't speak up about, you know, some of the things that were happening to MoNique. It was a question of integrity and, you know, why didn't he speak out? And Steve Harvey's response to that was that he wasn't going to compromise. He wasn't going to choose integrity over making money for his family, his kids, his grandkids, and he got all these people depending on him, and they need the money, and he wasn't about to, for the sake of integrity, he wasn't going to do that. He chose money. And, you know, MoNique came back and said, you know, we have to get to a point where we're not choosing money over everything, especially, you know, for our people. Steve made a point when he said, you know, your husband is doing all this extra stuff, you know, he can't be doing all that. So let's first address MoNique's husband. I would not have somebody who's my husband managing me. You know, from what I've heard, there's been crazy stories, and I know she said that her husband teaches her as her daddy or something like that. I think she said something crazy like that. So their relationship, the dynamic of their relationship is weird anyway. And if my memory serves me correctly, they have an open marriage. So, girl, I mean, do what you do, but that ain't something I'm gonna do. That point, I agree with Steve on. Now, this point about integrity and him choosing, he wasn't gonna say for the sake of integrity to reach out to MoNique and tell her she was right and say it publicly and take her side and say, you know, she is being lowballed, she is being blackballed, you know, in the industry. He didn't want to do that. He was more, you know, interested in keeping his money. I understand the point. I understand where he's coming from, but at the same time, you wrong as hell, Steve Harvey. First off, your money is already long. You ain't hurting for no money. Like, you aren't hurting for any kind of money, Steve Harvey. Like, you are like in the $100 million club at this point. Secondly, when are we gonna get to a point as Black people that we stop just thinking about ourselves individually and think about us collectively as a whole? This is part of the reason why Black people are still at the bottom, because we don't have a community mentality. We're not thinking about each other when we do things. I'm not gonna say all of us, but a lot of us are not, especially the ones who are rich. He wasn't hurting for no money, and I doubt he would have had much blowback from that, because Steve Harvey has a lot of connections and he's doing really well for himself. So I just thought that was really fucked up, because he kept calling her his sister, and I was just like, well, I wouldn't do my sister like that. I have an older sister, and I wouldn't do my sister like that. Well, I'm riding till the wheels fall off of my sister. Just go show you that there really is no loyalty in this industry, in that industry. And that's a lot of the reason why I think people need to really reevaluate and really try to understand what it's like to be in that business, because it's a dog eat dog type of industry. MoNique shouldn't be blackballed, because there's a lot more people who have done a lot far worse than MoNique and still have bounced back for their careers. But we know, you know, when you're a Black woman, you can't do stuff like that. I read a post on Instagram that said, what if Harriet Tubman had been like, oh, well, I done found a way out of, you know, a way out of slavery up to the north. I'm just gonna get all my stuff and go and, you know, fuck all these other slaves back there. I mean, y'all gotta figure it out on your own. I figured a way to get up out of there, so I'm good. What if Harriet Tubman had done that? That's what I read, and it made me think. Yeah, that's a really good analogy, because what if she had been like, oh, well, I'm good, you know, I'm free. Fuck all these other slaves. I'm not finna do this Underground Railroad stuff. I'm not finna risk my life for other people, other Black people. Let me just go on about my life. I'm good. We wouldn't even, I wouldn't say we wouldn't be here where we are today, but that took a lot of courage. I think it's easy to take the coward's way out and just to be quiet and not say anything. I think it's hard, and it speaks to your character when you are passionate about doing the right thing, even when no one's looking, or even when you're not getting pat on the back, even when it's not paying off, you're still committed to doing the right thing. That said a lot about Steve Harvey's character. When he said that, I was just like, you know what? I mean, you know, I appreciate you being honest. my best response to that. And I think as Black people, we have to understand that everybody don't think like that. We're not all on the same playing field when it comes to liberating our people and helping us all, you know, be risen up and helping us all establish wealth, generational wealth for one another. Those are my thoughts about that situation. You can have both. My lasting thoughts about it is that you can have integrity and still make money. Now, you do have to if you want to have a certain level of wealth, you are going to have to compromise your integrity in one way or another. But as somebody who, I still believe that you can have both. And it's unfortunate that he felt that way, but I'm cheering for MoNique. I'm glad to see that. I heard she's doing a Vegas residency and has a special on HBO. I'm glad to hear about that. I hope she continues to do better. I want her to do better. I didn't like the way she handled it, but I fully am behind her cause, what she was saying. Those are my thoughts about it, guys. Let me know what your comments are down in the comment section. Give me a like and subscribe to this channel if you like what you see, and I will see you guys on the next video.